Whatever. I was trying.
Oh my God.
Laura yelled at
joked.
me. She was like, you want this channel to be something. You gotta advertise it. And I'd be all like, I hate advertising.
But that's actually
I hate
true.
advertising. It's
But
literally
Laura's
the
so
opposite
true.
of the creativity that I want to express. This
Yvonne,
is nothing that I want to do. Julien,
Yvonne,
what's
I
up?
respect the hustle. I respect the hustle. All right? Because welcome to the Hungover Podcast. This is episode number 78. Today we're going to be talking about Evo 2018 and all the drama that ensued. Specifically Smash 4. That's where the drama really was. But Yvonne,
what you don't know is I've been holding B since Sunday.
Damn, you holding that L? Or you holding that B?
I don't know. It's whatever the charge shot is. Bayonetta v Bayonetta. It's the worst combination ever to grace the stage at Evo.
Of course, if you don't know what Evo is, you should really catch up by watching our series on Evo. We detailed in great detail on our YouTube channel, Gaming Hungover. Actually, it's Hungover Gaming. It's in the background there. We talked about each and every game that was at Evo except for Blaze Brew, Cross Tag, Chrono Phantasm Battle. I don't know anything about that. No, we didn't talk about that game because I don't know anything about that game. But yes, we talked about 6 different games, of which there were 7 at Evo, and I highly suggest you watch that series. It was an excellent series, if I do say so myself, Yvonne. But Yvonne,
he would say so himself. That's why he just said it.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much
You're
for
welcome.
doing this podcast with me.
Make sure that everyone's on point.
Well, Yvonne,
Nobody
speaking
feels
of on point,
disrespected.
we gotta do a little advertising, as you were saying how much you hate it in the beginning of this podcast. You can get this podcast in audio form on SoundCloud, Google Play, iTunes. Perhaps you might want to write us an iTunes review. You can also get it in video form, where we put various things in the background. You can see our beautiful faces. The day after effect on Monday, you can get it on Monday at 9 a.m. usually, but today we were a little late. Sorry about that. You can get it on our YouTube channel, Hungover Gaming. And you can also, do something a little more interesting. If you want to be part of the show, you can totally tune in live at twitch.tv/JujuBeesGood. Links in the description below, or twitch.tv/Comrade Boyar. He auto-hosts me, and you can chat with us and be part of the conversation. That really makes the podcast way more entertaining for us and way more entertaining for you. So go ahead and check that out. We also stream video games on our channels as well. I'm going to start trying to do some more IRL streams. I'm going to try to do some more cooking streams. There's a really cool Elgato attachment for your camera, so I don't get as laggy of a camera situation as I was before. So I'm going to try to save up to get that, and then hopefully I can use my DSLR to film some cooking. I think that will be a lot of fun for my cooking streams, or at least for me. Yvonne, that way way I really won't feel as bad by not streaming because I had to cook something for myself, because then I'm knocking 2 stones, 2 birds, 1 stone. I don't know the saying. Yvonne, we start our podcast out every single week in a song in a second. We start our podcast every single week by asking each other. We're really professional here.
This is number 78, man.
I know.
This is what happens when we don't do it on a Sunday.
I know. Sunday is my day, but Evo was on all the top 8s were on Sunday. I'm sorry. What did you do this weekend? What did you do this week? Tell us about it, and what did you drink last night or throughout the week?
This weekend, man, It was okay. So let's just go over it. 2 weeks in a row have been pretty heavy weekends for me. In between, I haven't had a lot of drinking, but 2 pretty heavy weekends.
Yeah.
So this past weekend was both my mother's, Obama's, and Laura's best friend's birthday, August 4th.
Obama's birthday? That's really great.
So I went into Buffalo expecting to see my mother. She wasn't there. She flew to Germany to literally avoid having birthday with her family.
Get wrecked, dude.
No, just kidding. It was a nice trip that coincided, her birthday coincided with one of my dad's conferences, so that there tooling around Germany, going to enjoy, I guess, what Germany has to offer, which I assume is nice culture, good beer, and exciting, smelly kind of people. Not bad smelly, but very much covering themselves up with
Cologne.
the cologne.
Huh? Did they go to Cologne? Where in Germany did they go?
No, they're taking a tour. I think
all around.
Berlin, Munich, Rotterdam. They're going to
get that bratwurst.
Salzburg for a little bit too. So
right.
it's a 10-day round trip tour of parts of Germany.
I can't complain.
Meanwhile,
sounds great.
I decided to join in the festivities that Laura's friend was having, and we did a bar bike tour in Buffalo.
That's awesome.
It was pretty intense. Here's the thing about me and like exercise or like biking. There's no on-offs. There's like no gear level to.
Yeah.
I'm not like, oh, this is a nice like light cruise. Let's go easy. I'm biking on switch.
Same with me for biking, anyway.
Yeah, you just have to pedal hard. I don't understand how people.
Fast. I gotta go fast. No time.
Anyway, this is a pedal bike bus, as they call it. You had to sign a waiver
bus?
and such. It's just like I mean, everyone. A lot of people have seen them. It's like so imagine like an oval like this.
Yeah.
And then on top of that is like a bar area.
Okay.
At the front of it is the guy who pilots it. And then there's like if you consider the front, there's a U shape where the U is the front of the bus.
Hold on, this was completely different from what I was picturing. I was picturing they set up a bunch of places to go on like a map or something, and you two take your bikes and bike to them.
No.
That's ridiculous.
This is pretty different. So imagine like a U shape. The pilot is sitting at the like bottom of the U, which is the front of the bus. There's a bar like shelving area that goes around for every other place.
Yeah.
Where they've got like a handhold, a place for your beverage, and then you're sitting on a bike seat that has pedals. And everybody, like there are I think 8. I think there's 4 or 5 actually pedal seats per side, plus 2 that are over the rear wheels, and then a bench that seats like 3 or 4 people in the back. Okay. So we had a full car. So we had 10. Crazy. I think we had 13 people, and we had consequently you had like 8 to 10 people biking.
Yeah,
I think it's 8. So we were all biking, and Buffalo has some downhills, some medium hills. Anyway, we sat on it. We were blasting tunes. We were singing along.
Nice.
We were trying to get cars and other people. And people get really friendly in Buffalo when it's like this weird experience. Everybody takes their phones out and starts filming you. I guarantee you I can find myself drunk singing on YouTube now. Awesome. But it was a pretty fun experience. Overall, the problem with it is that because it's like a 2 to 3 hour tour, you get like 3 stops and you're about like 15 minutes at each stop. So you're going in there and you're pounding back whatever you're drinking to make sure you can get to the next stop. We in fact took too long at the first place because we were like, this is a usual bar crawl experience. You go there for a little while and then you move on. This place, Julien, I don't think he would have left. I think he would have been like, thank you, I'm gone. This tour is over for me.
Leave me behind. Tell my tale. It's all right.
Tell my tale. It's a Japanese arcade bar.
Oh my God.
That was started by, I think, a Japanese immigrant in Buffalo.
That's so dope.
It's it's a full bar. It's a 2-level place. It's a full bar downstairs. And you can get all sorts of drinks. I got the Hello Kitty, of course, which is like a sweet cherry kind of cherry lemonade drink or cherry limeade drink with some glitter inside. I was a shining star.
You are my shining star, Ivan.
Thank you. And then you can go upstairs and they have a full like 80s. They have a second bar upstairs and a full 80s like cabinet setup.
That's
so they
cool.
had original Tron, they had Tapper, they had you think of it, they had it Spy Hunter,
Pac-Man.
I don't think they had like
Gradius.
Miss Pac-Man, but they
Miss
had
Pac-Man's
a bunch.
better.
They had a bunch of cabinets set up that
That's
you
cool.
could play. Like Teenage Mutant Ninja
Respect.
Turtles, I think was there.
Turtles
I don't think
in
X-Men.
Time.
I don't think X-Men was there, or else I would have played it.
Oh,
I really
X-Men's
like the X-Men
pretty
game.
solid game. Yeah, there are a couple barcades in New York City. I'm not the biggest fan of any of them. They are all right. They're just
Turns out-
all right experiences.
Tron is really hard. Like the original Tron is impossible. I played it for it once, but all the games are super reasonably priced. Like it's 50 cents per game.
That's not bad. In New York City, the barcades here, at least the 2 or 3 that I've been to, they range from $25 to $1 in terms of quarters. And the only good games are obviously, well, no, that's a lie. There are like a handful of good games there, but I always feel like I'm not having as much fun as I could. You know what I mean, Ivan?
I do know what you mean, which is
those
why
fighting games.
I passed all the cabinets. I played a little
just
skee ball,
Nice.
and then
skee-ball's
I
fun.
played pinball.
All right, cool. No,
And it was a
look,
KISS pinball machine, and it was pretty fun.
the
I
importance.
actually really love pinball.
Pinball's sick. Look, pinball is an art. There are some really crazy tables out there that people collect nowadays. But I'll tell you, Ivan, the importance of arcade cabinets is that you have to upkeep them. And in New York City, people wreck them. So that's why we can't have arcades in New York City anymore.
One of them
so,
was
yeah, if they
the
don't
Spy
work, it's not
Hunter,
fun.
which I really wanted to play, was down.
Yeah, that sucks.
I played so many hours of goddamn Spy Hunter and Tapper back in the day on whatever website we used to play games at school during computer
E-Bombs
class.
World.
Something
Probably
like that.
Newgrounds, maybe. I don't know.
Newgrounds for sure.
Yeah.
It was definitely Newgrounds, actually.
That dates us.
Yeah.
You kids listening to this don't even know what that is. Flash games on the internet.
So, Japanese bar first.
Sick.
Finished the Flash games. Moved on to, while singing Flash Dance, to a martini bar where it was two for 10 martinis just when we got there. We got there right at their happy hour. Did not. I had a classic martini with a lemon twist. Okay. And then I had like a coffee martini. That was pretty dope. Pretty delicious.
Sounds good. Hey, shit. Coffee.
It was both
vodka.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
It was both sweet. No, coffee gin, Julian.
Look, they make gin martinis. I don't know what's going on. I know literally.
I think a coffee gin
martinis.
martini would be literally the most disgusting thing I could taste.
I'm just saying.
As a drink.
I know absolutely nothing about martinis. Tell me
more. It would be on par with that stupid Chinese rotten fruit drink. Baijiu.
It's gross. That was. Look, that's made from rice, as all things are in China, and that's a really gross drink. Don't get that unless you're spending big bucks, because that's the only time it's good.
Anyway, fast forward through the night. Had a flight of beers at Big Ditch Brewing, which is a very good Buffalo brewery.
Nice.
They had a really what was the one that I had that I really liked? It was Beautiful something, I think. That was a really, really good beer. It was just a like farmhouse ale. That was good. Then fast forward to the next place where we got some champagne. Distributed the mini Martini Rossi bottles. It was 6 for $24, which I think is a pretty good deal.
That's reasonable, man.
It's like $2 per bottle, so I thought that was fun.
Yeah,
got to pass those out and everything, and the night ended poorly because the bartenders at that bar were complete and utter jackasses.
Come on, look,
but
you want a tip? You gotta be nice. Get the
later. The bartender at a different bar at that same place was like, "Yeah, those guys are assholes," and bought me back a drink. So it was nice.
That's nice.
Anyway, and then I haven't drank since then because that was a pretty heavy night.
Yeah, I can imagine. I can really imagine. But it sounds like you had a great weekend, man. I'm glad you had a good one.
A pretty exciting time. How about you?
For me, I buckered down. I started a new game on Master Mode, The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, for the stream on Friday. We had a good stream. It was pretty fun. I really wasn't expecting the game to be so different on Master Mode. I paid for a hard mode, so I'm like, okay. And then I left it dormant for about a year, actually. So I haven't really touched that game in about a year.
Wait, wasn't it a paid expansion that was hard mode?
Yeah, no, not just hard mode. They gave you extra things, and they also gave you hard mode. But if you wanted just hard mode, you would have to pay for it no matter what. So it's like, okay, Nintendo, you made a really great game, so I'll excuse it, I guess. I'll
put in some more.
This actually worth it. If you're playing the game a year after the fact, the game's completely new anyways. But they made it really difficult in the beginning. So there are a lot more enemies. That's pretty much like the hard mode. But they also put a bunch of different loot or like different placements of enemies. They're also tougher enemies. Each enemy is like now a level higher. And there's a bunch of different loot chests that you can find that will give you different weapons and things. The game is a lot more it's a lot more difficult, so you have to manage your items a lot more, which I did not find to be too difficult just playing the game on normal mode. But on hard mode, because these enemies take so many hits, I have to now go out of my way to make a bunch of different potions so I don't die. So I now have to get all the resources that I really need to make the good potions. Then I also have to make sure I save my best weapons for the tough enemies and not just use them and let them break. So it really makes you think about the game differently, and you have to get pretty much every single chest if you want to live. It's actually much more like Dark Souls.
Wow, that's very intense.
I wasn't expecting it to be so difficult, but I grinded out some shrines in the meantime, and then we're going to tackle more of the story mode on Friday. So I've made it a point to progress in the story on Fridays, and then just throughout the week I'm working on getting through just some shrines so I can level up and have more health and stamina. Aside from that, I beat 2 story campaigns in Octopath Traveler, so there's still 6 to go. The last bosses are actually fairly difficult. It's the first time in the game where I actually had to stop, think about my strategy in the game a little harder, and then also level up quite a bit. I wasn't expecting to have to grind out that much, but the last bosses were pretty cool looking, I must admit. At least Hanit, the beast hunter and capturer character, she can capture basically almost any enemy in the game except for bosses and humans. She can capture beasts and then use them in battle. So they have a certain amount of usages, and they use a move in battle. So it's kind of similar to how Red 13 works in... No, which character? Oh, it's actually in Final Fantasy X. There's a character that you can copy their moves of enemies, I think, in Final Fantasy X. If I'm not mistaken. So it's a pretty cool mechanic. She has a cool trope that she plays in the game. But I'm really excited, I must say, for a game that's coming out. Well, for 2 games that are coming out tomorrow, Tuesday. Actually, should be today, if you're listening to this after the fact, not on Twitch. 2 games are coming out, both Overcooked 2. Yvonne, we need to get this game. We loved Overcooked. Game. I suggest we get it on Steam. I wanted to talk to you about this because it will be easier to stream, I think.
Yeah, sounds good. I also have old 360 controllers, so I can still do that.
Yeah, that would be good for you. Because then you won't have to jump through hoops and barrels to capture audio. The back and forth banter is the best part of the game, right? But apparently the levels are super crazy. They threw in a new mechanic. You can throw raw food now instead of trying to skill shot it where you use momentum and then let go of the food and then it just flies. Sort of. You can sort of do that in the first one. There's online multiplayer now, which obviously we're super excited about.
That was always important to us.
And there's multi-tier level, I think. So I heard like at one point someone was describing a level, and obviously describing a level in this game is pure madness, but they were just making a pizza, and at some point they broke through the floor and they fell into a sushi parlor that they had played in earlier, so they had to completely switch gears and now make sushi. I don't know.
That sounds
I'm
awesome.
excited. I'm effing excited for this game. I can't wait. But there's another game, Yvonne. There is another game that's also coming out tomorrow called Dead Cells. I cannot wait for this game. It looks super cool. I don't know if you're ever into any rogue-like or rogue-lite games, or rogue. Do you know that type of genre of video game?
Rogue-like.
And rogue-lite.
Explain the thing.
Okay, so basically, rogue-lite games. There's an original game called Rogue, which spawned this genre. But basically, the whole gist of the game is you progress through a procedurally generated level, so it's random each time. Enemies are random, and there can be a different order of rooms that you're going through, and you basically run through it to the point where you get killed, basically. Then you restart, and you leave your loot there, and you then go through it again and try to get farther. So basically you're going through runs and trying to get farther and farther into a dungeon. For instance, there's a game called Enter the Gungeon, Spelunky. I think Rogue Legacy is one of my favorites. I haven't really delved too deep into this genre. This game is similar in terms of the genre, but you get to level up your character and continue progressing and being stronger and learning new techniques, and the combat's really cool as well. You basically gather a currency in the game and bring it back and level up. It's kind of like Dark Souls in that sense, but you're progressively learning new moves and feeling like you're progressing through the game, and then you can get further and further and further and further into the game.
Are there like bosses that you meet in certain rooms and such? I assume?
Exactly. So, and I guess people like this game because it has that carrot on the stick, just one more run, I'll do better next time, that type of mentality. So I'm super excited for this game. I'll try to stream it tomorrow. We'll see if I should be home on time, so I will try to stream it tomorrow. I'm excited. Or on Tuesday. I stream on Tuesdays, stream on Fridays and Saturdays. Vaughn streams on Sundays, definitely, but he's going to try to stream maybe a little more during the week. We'll see if he finds the time. Yeah.
I would like to.
Give him a follow on Twitch. I
often have other things to do.
Yeah, I know. But
I'm also trying to write a play.
Yeah, well, that's a huge thing.
Yeah, I'm 15 pages in now.
Can you tell me a thing or two about a certain play that went on at Evo 2018, Ivan?
Imagine two competitors of the highest order. They had made it through so many matches.
Yes.
They had finally arrived. The pinnacle of Evo for their sport. The final on stage in front of thousands of people watching, hundreds live, and half of the audience leaves before they even make it onto the stage. Why, you might say? Are they horrible people? Is there an evacuation? No. A simple black-haired woman is their chosen avatar.
She's a brunette.
Whatever her hair color is. Raven-haired. Anyway, so it was, whatever, ruining my whole shtick. Jackass. There was a tournament this weekend, which was Evo, and in it, one of the games is Super Smash 4, Wii U Smash 4, as it's alternatively called. And this was a game in which many people have stated that one character is simply too OP, too overpowered, and too boring to watch, even at the highest levels of play. So these two very highly ranked players who ended up in the final, that was Lima and who was the other?
Captain Zach.
Captain Zach. who had earlier tweeted, "Stop booing me," this weekend. They basically stared at each other with one of Bayonetta's moves, which is like a charge shot, which you can release at a certain given time. They stared each other down, even to the point where they had one hand on the controller, were holding this button down, were looking at each other, and outside of the game were chatting to each other and laughing at each other. No, you do it. No, you do it.
Well,
these guys were
good friends, by the way.
A tournament official had to come over and say that you cannot stall the match. It is against Evo rules. He had to bring it up on a laptop, basically, in order to force them to fight and play and get the game over. It was the culmination of everything that you didn't want to see in an Evo match, I would assume. And I think it is a harbinger of things to come. What do you think, Julien?
So this is... Okay, so this is a multi-tiered problem in the Smash 4 community, I would say specifically, although I believe some of it... I think it's specifically this is a problem in Smash 4 right now. So the game is on its last legs, let's be honest. We already know Smash Ultimate's coming out, and, big whoop. Okay, so the game is probably not going to be at Evo 2019. We're probably going to have Smash Ultimate at Evo 2019. But this has been a consistent problem at many tournaments. This sort of notion that Bayonetta mains are the people who choose to play Bayonetta during a tournament game are therefore, because she's such a great character in the game, are therefore bad people. So that's inherently just wrong. You shouldn't be saying that about a person because of the character they picked. These guys are trying to compete at the highest level of the game, and they're trying to win. So shouldn't it just make sense that they're going to pick the character that gives them the biggest advantage? So, this is why you pick top-tier characters in a video game, in a fighting game specifically. This is why you do that. You go with the meta in order to stay up to date and win the majority of your games. So that is why this community is super toxic. It's to the point where they're literally hassling these guys. They're booing them on the stage because they picked Bayonetta. That being said, though, what they did was really childish and dumb, I think. I think Captain Zach tweeted out after the fact, obviously after Evo, he wouldn't be able to... Well, actually, he might have been able to tweet during the game.
During that moment, he could have whipped out his phone, checked his Facebook and everything.
No, but he said, I didn't even know that this was collusion, or I didn't even know about the collusion rule. I didn't mean to do this. I didn't mean to... I'm paraphrasing now based on what I can remember. I didn't mean to... I didn't think what I did was childish or at all. I didn't know what he tweeted something about it being not childish and not a mature thing to do. Granted, I don't know how old these guys are. They could be like 18 years old. So maybe they're not going to be the most mature people in the world. But that being said, this is a really childish thing to do, to hold up the tournament, to waste everyone's time, to not be respectable about your profession. This is your professional job pretty much at the point. You're being a professional gamer at this level. You're in grand finals at Evo. So just not respecting the moment is pretty childish on their part, and I think so that's why it's sort of a multi-tiered thing.
So here's Captain Zach.
I don't know the exact quote, but if you want
I apologize for my disrespect of showing in grands. I was truly trying my best, but I definitely made it seem as if I wasn't. I'm sorry to my fans that I disappointed, and I want to apologize to the entire Evo staff. I'm sorry. Lima also tweeted...
it was Lima. I don't know.
I didn't mean to make grand finals look like collusion or childish. I didn't even know the rules about it.
Okay,
and I was playing one of my best friends, so I didn't want it to end with that SD, so I gave the stock. I play better when I play to have fun, so that's what I did. Sorry, lol.
Yeah, okay, so the thing I didn't mean to make it look childish. Okay, but you did. You definitely did by holding B and just charging your move and just talking your friend. It's just not a good look on anyone's part. And this was sort of the big drama at Evo this year. I'm not a big fan of the situation. I think the Smash community can do way better. I know Bayonetta's broken as fuck or whatever. I don't really play this game competitively. I play Melee more competitively. I am aware that Bayonetta is, as a general consensus, she's a very good character, right? But that doesn't mean that, then why doesn't everyone just pick her, right? Because they don't want to. They want to play other characters, and we see that a lot of people are doing very well at tournaments by not picking Bayonetta. So you can beat her. You just have to play better. That's my general consensus. I don't think people should be so whiny about it. I think that is actually counterintuitive and counters the whole point of the fighting game community. Just complaining instead of getting better. That's the whole point of the fighting game community. I think a lot of people show respect for people who are very skilled at video games in the fighting game, at the fighting games, playing at this level. They don't necessarily really care for anyone else. They want to progress their gameplay further and just are always trying to get better at the game that they're playing. So the mentality that you're picking Bayonetta, you're an asshole, and therefore you're just gonna win, so why even play you, right? So because you picked Bayonetta, like, that's very counterintuitive to me, as at the same time, a fighting game player.
This is at the highest level of playing for fighting games, right?
Yeah.
So you basically, at this level, the difference mechanically from player to player is like the most minimal, I would say, that you can get, just because they play every character at the not every character, but the characters that they do choose at the highest level. So it is like, it's the basic dream of everybody that everybody's skill level is determined by the least amount of like chance or video game, like the video game design shouldn't interpret how well people do.
Yeah.
So they want to see how people can exploit those minimal differences in mechanics, which make the biggest difference in terms of play at this level.
Right.
And in that, it is important to know that just by picking one character versus another, that isn't going to be like an advantage that is unfair, or an advantage that isn't based on mechanical skill.
Right.
Or it's a in-game design flaw which is being exploited. And that's, I think people are most upset when they feel like it isn't a test of mechanical skill, it's a test of an exploitation. And I think that even when you get two Bayonetta people against each other, there you have, Bayonetta v Bayonetta. This is super mechanical focused, but because it's two people who have picked the same character, and if you look at the top 8, the people who played Bayonetta were more in the top 8 than people who didn't play Bayonetta, then you get that whole level of, well, it's an unbalanced game. Okay. And so from there I can understand the
I personally think that Smash 4 is a horribly unbalanced game, but I don't necessarily think. But then why doesn't everyone just play Bayonetta? Is my question.
Because people also have egos, or people have different characters that they just have attachment to, or exactly. If they play multiple different games, then they select a character that has the most compatibility cross-play.
The other controversy was that not everyone could make it to this tournament for one reason or another. Players such as MK Leo and Zero were not. I don't know if Zero was at the tournament. He certainly wasn't in top 8. I watched the top 8, but MK Leo, someone he's actually fairly young, but he's a player that's on the up and coming, if not one of the best players in this game. but he couldn't make it to the tournament for one reason or another. I don't know the exact reason. And people were just saying, yeah, well, these people wouldn't even be in grand finals if MKLeo was here, right? So that's another factor to tournaments that I don't really think we should. It's just how tournaments roll out. If someone's not there, then you're probably going to do better. Like if someone who's better than you isn't there, you're going to do better generally. But yeah, so okay, then Smash 4 I think personally is kind of an unbalanced game. It's a fun game, but okay, they didn't choose to balance this game too well. Obviously Bayonetta is allegedly superior to every character. I don't play this game competitively. And I think other games are much more balanced, I guess. But then why is everyone playing this game? That's all I'm asking. It's like there's
I don't think everybody's playing this game. I think a lot of people are playing this game, and a lot of people were playing this game and before Smash, for instance, got back to Evo or something like that. It also, like, just any Nintendo game has that level of nostalgia that everybody just loves to play it. I mean, everybody's going to go out and buy a Switch. Not everybody, but a lot of people will go out and buy a Switch just for Super Smash Bros. Ultimate.
Yeah,
I mean it's just a selling point, and I think that for the Wii U it was the same. It was the same thing.
I think Masahiro Sakurai watched this or is at least paying attention, or had someone watch it for him, and then told him the results, and he's gonna make some serious changes to Bayonetta at some point, whether it be before the game comes out or at some point down the road. So I think we'll see a more balanced game in Smash Ultimate. I really don't. I think this game is done. So I understand there was a lot of drama, but I think I should hope the community is strong enough to put it behind them, because that's what I really want.
Conspiracy theory.
Yeah.
Conspiracy theory time from Hungover Gaming.
That's
us. This is going to be the last year of Super Smash 4.
Yes.
I mean, people know that, right?
Yeah, I should
in
hope
preparation so. In preparation for Smash Ultimate coming out, they wanted to make sure that such flawed characters and unbalanced characters were not available in the newest upcoming Smash. So they decided to take it upon themselves and show and bring attention to this game, which is a bit older and is a bit, furiously unbalanced for these characters. And so they decided, these two competitive pro players decided to take it upon themselves to turn this finals into a spectacle. Not only that, conspiracy theory point number 2, they wanted to attach and make themselves known commodities and known names in terms of the fighting game community for a game that's also not necessarily counted as a fighting game.
No, so, I could see it happening. You never know.
This leads to conspiracy theory number 3. They also want to make sure that perhaps Smash 4 has some sort of comeback redemption tour in the future, where this kind of thing comes about again, and they have an opportunity to play a game which they're super good at.
Yeah, I don't really care for conspiracy theories, Ivan. But
I know that they wanted to get attention for themselves in any case.
Yeah, so. Well, definitely the Captain Zack. Look at this guy. He's just
this is the moment that we were talking about.
Yeah, I know. This is the exact moment where they're just charging. If you're listening to the audio portion, both Bayonetta characters are just holding down. They hold down B, I believe is the move. Yeah, I assume. And Bayonetta just stands there and charges her guns and doesn't do anything. So both characters are doing that at the moment. And currently the TO, the tournament organizer, is talking to them on the microphone. We're getting, the paparazzi is paying attention. Anyways, Yvonne, Smash 4 wasn't the only game played at Evo. There were 6 other games, and I believe those tournaments went way smoother than this one. So
I would agree.
I don't want to say that. I don't want people to think that this is how Evo goes every year. In fact, this is pretty dramatic. This is like some crazy shit that went down for an Evo Grand Finals. This has never happened. I wanted to talk specifically counter to the point of Smash 4. Let's talk about Tekken 7, where we saw almost an exact opposite of this game. I mean, we talked about Tekken 7 in our series, our Evo Bootcamp series, where we talked about how it's a 3D fighter and pretty different from pretty much every other game at Evo. It's because it's a 3D fighter with health bars and things. This game, Tekken 7, completely shows is way more interesting, I think, than Smash 4. Because I like that game a lot more. I think it's super cool that we saw that not only top tier players characters were played at the top 8. So we saw an actual low bottom tier character make it to top 8, which is a true testament to how balanced that game truly is. That game might be my favorite fighting game at the moment. It's definitely my favorite fighting game at the moment. And there was a literal bottom tier character, a literal panda. That's the character in the game, and the character's name is Panda, and it has like a little pocket purse and a little hat. It's a weird character, but a guy came in. I think he came in 5th in overall in the tournament, and he played this character. There weren't just top tier characters in the game, and I wanted to point that out. It was very exciting for me to watch.
Panda was 5th
Panda.
there.
Yeah, 5th. And there was I think it was actually a crazy top 8, because usually you see the best top 8 ranked players in top 8. But this top 8, we had people who'd never been to America. There was a guy, his name was Chiri Chiri. He's from Japan. He never, I don't think he's ever been to America. He's never been in an international tournament, certainly not on the Evo stage, and he made it to top 8. That guy was awesome. He also had super sick hair. His hair, he had like a fro. He gave himself a perm or something, and he had like a Japanese fro. Chiri, I think is his name.
I have the results here.
Awesome. And
he doesn't have a page on Wikipedia.
No, he doesn't. But he is he's sponsored by AMD. That's pretty sick. The graphics card and I don't think they make a CPU. Sorry. But yeah, I thought that was super sick. And the other tournament that I was super excited to watch was Super Smash Bros. Melee, where we had quite an upset, I think. Obviously, the number 1 ranked player in the world is a Jigglypuff main. He plays Jigglypuff. His name is Hungrybox. I think he came in 3rd, in 4th. So he didn't replicate his Evo 2016 victory over Armada. We saw Armada actually go into losers bracket the day before on Saturday to Swedish Delight, who came in 7th. So Swedish Delight is not known to, Armada has literally never lost to anyone other than pretty much the top 5 players since 2010. So for 8 years, no one can touch him except for Mango, Mewtwo King, Hungrybox, and like Plop. So those are the people who are pretty much the best at the game at the moment. They're the only people who could take matches off of Armada. But Armada lost to Swedish Delight, which was a huge upset. So he had to work his way through losers bracket to fight Leffen, who actually hasn't really been playing Super Smash Bros. Melee that much this year, because he's been playing Dragon Ball FighterZ. Everyone's been playing Dragon Ball FighterZ, and Leffen comes in here. He doesn't lose a single match, and he plays out of his effing mind. He played almost perfectly. So if you want to learn how to play Fox, you got to watch Leffen's run through winners bracket and, of course, grand finals, where he pretty much crushed Armada. It was 2 Swedish guys competing around a CRT television in the middle of the Mandalay Bay. It was a weird sight to see that happen, but it was a really
Swedish
great
delight,
game.
ironically not
Swedish. No. I don't understand, and the only other it's so weird. The Melee community is so weird, but it's a lovely community. I'm really glad to have gone to the few tournaments that I've gone to and competed in. I had a lot of fun.
But in the end, it was Leffen was playing Fox. He was up 2 stocks basically towards the end versus Armada's. Was it Peach? Daisy? Peach.
Daisy is gonna be in Smash Ultimate, but it was Peach in the last match. He actually did pick Fox for the first match, the first set, first couple of games. I think maybe it was just one game. But yeah, so. He didn't think that his Fox could do it, and then he played Peach because his Peach game is better, I guess, to counter Fox. He needed some sort of strategy because Leffen was always there to counter his moves and play well. So it was definitely worth watching. I didn't watch the Street Fighter tournament because I actually want to go back and watch it. But yeah, it was too late for me. I had to wake up at 6:30, so I couldn't watch it. But it was exciting.
What kind of a fan are you?
I know. I'm disappointment. But that being said,
a pretty big upset though in the Street Fighter V tournament. I think.
Was there? I gotta watch it. I want to watch
the winner being Problem X.
Problem X. Whoa, that's huge, actually.
So it was definitely not anybody that we had projected to be in that top bid. I don't think.
No, we didn't. We projected. I forget. Yeah, that was so long ago. Go watch the series. Tell us in the comment section below. But Ivan, that's not the only thing to come out of Evo. There were a lot of game announcements to come out of Evo.
Can I for a second hold on?
Yeah.
Just lament the fact that my man.
Not game announcements, but
the buff John Deding.
John Deding. Love that kid.
Was knocked out by an American, couldn't make it to top 8.
I know, man.
But anyway, I wanted, of all of my Dark Horse calls, I really wanted John Deding to win. He's very buff.
Yeah, very, very buff.
He's really buff. So what were the announcements? What's the cool stuff that we've got coming up? Because although we saw some pretty cool games in terms of the fights and things that were taking place, the matches that were taking place, a lot of the games that we saw are pretty old. I mean, Melee, fan favorite, super old. Smash 4 is getting updated to Ultimate. We've got a few games that are a few years older, and we've got some new things on the horizon to look forward to. Just look at Dragon Ball FighterZ was a game that came out this year, and literally all across the fighting game community, people dropped the game that they were playing to go over and play Dragon Ball FighterZ. One of the first better versions of a game in a long time. So
it was the biggest, had the most entrants at Evo. I think they broke records. So that game's very popular. They announced a new character for the game. Obviously, Base Goku and Base Vegeta are coming to the game very soon, I believe this month. But the next character down the line is actually Cooler, which is Frieza's brother, I believe. They showed a trailer off. He was actually in a Dragon Ball Z movie, so he was never in the anime proper. But he was in one of the movies, I believe. That's where he's from, and he looks like an incredible
Cooler in
cool
2
character.
movies?
Might be 2 movies. I'm not sure. I think I only saw one of them.
I feel like he was in 2.
But yeah, he looks super cool. He's a very large. He has a large sprite. He's a large character, so that's exciting. The only other real large character in the game is Broly. What
about 16?
16 is like the smallest of the big characters, but if you count just Cooler and Broly, then he's smaller than those 2. But 16's pretty big. We saw him in the grand finals for sure. So I'm excited for Cooler. Can't wait for that. I'm also excited for Base Goku because I want to use Kaioken. It's my favorite move in the series. Ivan, that's not all of the characters that were announced.
That's not all?
There was a huge trailer, 2 characters coming tomorrow to Street Fighter V. Sagat, the Muay Thai Emperor, as it were, or the King of Muay Thai, is coming back to Street Fighter, and he's coming in with his tiger knee and gonna fuck everyone up. This guy is 7'4", Ivan, and he has an eye patch and he's bald. And
but he's a classic character, right?
Oh yeah, he was introduced in the first Street Fighter, so very exciting. Everyone's excited for him to come back. I can't wait to play him. Actually, it's gonna get me back into Street Fighter 5. I played a lot of that game when it came out, but I sort of tailored off after the fact. The next character to come out in Street Fighter 5 tomorrow is G. He's a new character, completely new. I don't know that much about him.
He looks like really Abraham weird. Lincoln meets McCree meets fire elemental.
He's modeled. I think he's modeled after Abraham Lincoln and Uncle Sam. So, which is pretty much Abraham Lincoln in terms of how he looks. He has a top hat. He's actually his idea as a character, his lore, is that he's trying to run for like world president. And he uses social media to do so. So he powers up his influence, I think, in social media. I don't know exactly how. He basically he can charge up 3 times and then his moves become more powerful. But it's all about his global influence in the game.
Trump has literally invaded the goddamn Street Fighter 5.
I know. It's pretty much Trump. Yeah, I would like to see the different costumes they give him.
My God.
Next up, the next game that I am super excited. Obviously, during the Melee Grand Finals, they announced that there's going to be a Smash Brothers Ultimate Direct on Wednesday. So stay tuned for that. I don't know what they're going to announce there. I hope it's Waluigi for everyone's sake, so people can finally shut the fuck up about him. But I love Waluigi. I'm kidding. I would be super excited if he was in the game, and so would so many people. But then they would start complaining about it.
Are you telling me that there's like 100 or whatever characters in Smash Bros. Ultimate because Waluigi wasn't in there? People are like, not everybody's in there.
No, look, people. If Waluigi was in the game, they'd find someone else to complain about. So don't worry.
I know they're going to. So if they kowtow now, they'll kowtow forever. Be yourself. Be your true self, Nintendo.
Well, anyways, Ivan, I believe the biggest announcement to come out of Evo was Tekken Season 2. So I did not see this coming at all. I pretty much thought that Tekken 7 had ran its course. You know, maybe they would announce a new character or something. But Tekken Season 2 is huge because this game came out in 2015, Ivan. They're still updating it. That's great. It's my favorite fighting game. I can't stress that enough. They're gonna do balance adjustments. Yeah. So it was 2 years at arcade, and then 2 years now on console. So Season 2 makes sense for the official release on consoles, I suppose. Whatever. So the idea of Season 2, you get balance updates, new mechanics. That's super exciting for me. I can't wait for that. It's going to reinvigorate. They're going to release 5 characters over the course of the year, I believe. One of which is Anna, who is Nina's sister. There's a deep Tekken lore. I don't need to get into it, and also I don't know it that well. And they didn't announce the other character they announced was a crossover between The Walking Dead and Tekken 7. So Negan from The Walking Dead, the guy with the baseball bat, I don't watch this show or care about The Walking Dead, is going to be in Tekken 7 for whatever reason. And
Lei Wulong as well.
Oh, Lei is huge. Oh, yeah, that's the other guy. Everyone's been wanting Lei to come back into Tekken ever since Tekken 7 was released, and he's finally coming back, so people are going to be happy. I am actually super excited for him, too. Super excited. And then there were 2 characters announced for Soul Calibur 6, one of which is a girl that wears very little clothing, and the other is a gigantic demon. I'm super excited for that game. Cannot wait. I really can't wait for that game. It's going to be super dope. Coming out October 19th. That's a lot of Evo things to talk about. Hey, there's Audacity in the background. But, Ivan, what did you think of Evo? The little bit that you watched.
From the little bit that I watched, I thought it was
because you watched the Smash 4 Grand Finals.
No, I thought that was pretty interesting. Yeah, because I'm not a super fighting game aficionado. That was I thought that was pretty interesting. I think it's also an interesting test case for what people pay attention to more in terms of the general public and people just tuning into fighting game esports.
Yeah.
Like, do you
On
need
ESPN?
these little blips of controversy that are outside of like, oh shit, just look at how this guy stops 11 kicks in a row with perfect timing. In general, I thought it was pretty good. It's one of the tournaments that I think provides a lot of surprises, and not necessarily does everything come out the way that people planned. You see different top 8s, people who have never come to this country being in a tournament. We saw Dragon Ball FighterZ be introduced to its grand stage appearance that, like, I think a lot of people are tuning into for the first time to see any kind of professional Dragon Ball FighterZ tournament, just because this is one of the larger ones that it's shown in. So I think overall it was a pretty interesting thing, and I think the best thing that can come of it is that they could go off of the interest gathered from Evo being just a huge tournament and people reading about it even if they don't watch everything, and come and have really interesting games or add-ons or whatever announcements are surrounding that. So I think everybody did pretty well except for Smash 4.
Well, good riddance to Smash 4. Thanks so much for listening to the podcast, everyone. Whew, it was a lot to go through. I really enjoyed the tournament. I hope you guys did too. Ivan, we end our podcast every single week in a song in a segment called Hungover Radio. This is where you, the listener, can send in your music to gaminghungover@gmail.com.
You're lying to me. They could send us something that they could then have us play for our dozens and dozens and dozens of downloads over the course of multiple years.
Hey, Ivan.
Yes.
Our EU suing Google got 100 listens on SoundCloud alone.
That's right, because it was a good topic.
It was a great topic. Thank you for suggesting it. Ivan, we'll see how this one does. Definitely go ahead and share this with your friends so we can smash that 100 listen record. Let's go, boys and girls. Ivan, if no one sends in a song, I get to pick one. And because of all the drama and the good riddance to Smash 4, I've picked the main theme from the E3 2018 version of Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. I hope you guys enjoy the song. I'm one of your hosts, Julien.
I'm Ivan. Thank you so much for tuning in. We'll see you next week on time on Sunday. Bye.
Goodbye.